point, we're going to honor the Pioneer of the Year Male Award, and it goes to Brother Charles D. Mohammed. Brother Charles. Brother Charles Mohammed accepted the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1959 in jail at the age of 20 years old. When he came home from jail in October 23rd, 1963, he went to Temple No. 4, Washington, D.C. His name was changed to Charles 7X. He began selling the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, and he worked in the Shabazz bakery. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad called him and asked him to come to Chicago to work in his bakery in December 1965. He worked in his bakeries, Amina Bakery on Chaplin and 79th Street, Champaign and 79th Street, and South Park Bakery, which was on 71st and South Park Avenue. South Park Avenue name was changed to South Martin Luther King Boulevard until he had built the Shabazz Bakery in 1972, which was on 70th Street and Rose. He worked in the bakery as a cleanup man, and eventually he became the production manager over baking. He believed in the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad 100%. He believes in Imam W.D. Muhammad 100%, who established us on following the model of the Prophet, peace be upon him. The Pioneer Male of the Year Award goes to Brother Charles Muhammad, with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Pioneer Award presented to Charles D. Muhammad in recognition of your outstanding service, faithfulness, dedication, and loyalty. Savior's Day 2020, honoring our past to move forward for a brighter future. Mosque Cares, Ministry of Imam W.D. Muhammad II, President, February 22nd, 2020. Brother Charles.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, and in the name of His servant, the Messenger, the Prophet Muhammad. I just have a couple of things I want to add to what's been said to give a more clear picture of what I experienced when I came into the Nation of Islam. I was extremely blessed to come in under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When I came to Chicago in December 1965 to work at Amina Bakery, my manager was Imam R.D. Muhammad. Wow. Muhammad Speak newspaper office was next door under Herbert Muhammad. A few years later, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad built Shabazz Bakery from the ground up at 79th and Road. 2,200 square foot. Every piece of equipment in the bakery was brand new. The clothes we wore to work in was brand new. The trucks, 4 of them that we used, were brand new. To my thinking, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was establishing in us, that the community that we were supposed to build for ourselves was supposed to be from ground up and brand new. We weren't supposed to be using renovated properties and such, like when the pioneers started out with. we had passed that and we were going towards the future. And the future for us was building and establishing a model society. I, for one, do not believe in using old stuff to work with. From 1972 to 1975, we serviced every store in Chicago with baby products. We worked 24 hours a day, 3 shifts, 8-hour shift. On each shift, we had 8 hours for pies, we had 8 hours for cakes, 8 hours for bread, and we did this 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We were trying to build a model society. When the Imam Mohammed came in, the same support that I felt for the Honorable Muhammad passed over to the Imam, because the Honorable Muhammad had conditioned us for the leadership that was coming after him. And if you were a follower of the Honorable Muhammad, you should have been a follower of the Imam. When the Imam came in, we were sitting on the floor at the University, Sister Clara Muhammad University of Islam. And the Imam told us that we were the new leaders of the world. He said, Allah created us to be the world leaders. And he said, you cannot make Allah a liar. So the Imam said, if you say, well, Brother Imam, I don't want to be the world leader. I want to go out and drink whiskey or wine. The Imam say, well, if you want to go out and drink whiskey or wine for a year, for 100 years, he said, then the world is going to have to wait 100 years. Because Allah said, you are to be the world leader, and you can't make Allah a liar. So that's the situation that we find ourselves in today. That's what we represent. We are the first people that are to establish a model community. Now, if you don't believe that, you just don't believe that. There's nothing I can do to help you with that. But that's that's what I think and that's what I believe. The Imam said we had help. What was asked of us to do wasn't an ordinary job. He said, you are to establish a model community. He said, when you look at that, that's a heck of a task. So he said we had help. He said the adult Islamic country had an obligation to help the new baby Islamic community, and that was us. And he said, and I'm going over this again because I feel very strong about this. He said Qatar was the Islamic country that said they would give 25% of their daily oil revenue to help us. That was back in the late 70s or early 80s. So I spoke to my niece a couple of weeks ago in Washington, D.C. She worked in the World Bank, and I told her what the Imam said, and the country that I would like to speak with the ambassador to. And after I told her, she said, okay, let me check around and see. So she called and she got back with me a couple of days later and said she had found the person that could help. And the person asked her to tell her exactly what I said the Imam said. And she told her. And she said, okay. So she said that person said they would get back in touch with my niece or me. And then she told me the name of the person that she was talking to. She said the person's name was Genesee. Okay, so the spiritual connotation, of course, this took me. But anyhow, I plan on going to Washington, D.C. to speak with the ambassador if I can, and I'm going to ask them to give what they said they will commit themselves to do for us. And I'm saying this because we need a platform to work from to do things. Just keep asking for charity and small, it's not going to get it. And we shouldn't have to function like that. We need to be able to use funds like all the other independent nations.
That's right.
And I'm not talking about small money. If they ask me, what do I think they should give us? I say give us some $100 trillion to work with so we can do what we want to do.
That's right. That's right.
You already know how we think and how we act, and we're not a foolish people.
Right.
We want to establish an Islamic community in 52 states here in America and the world. That's what we want to do. So that's how I think, that's how I feel, and that's what I intend to do. And I want to thank you very, very much for this, and I'll put it right there with the pictures that I have in my house to remind me every day of what I'm supposed to do. I have a picture of Sister Clara Muhammad, I have a picture of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I have a picture of Imam Muhammad right there on my table all day, every day to remind me of what we're supposed to do. And last, y'all have to understand what you have in Wallace II. Now, I know y'all don't think about it, but I'm going to bring it back to your attention. The world leaders, the religious world leaders, put the Imam in the seat to teach them on how to deal with the world problem. When the Imam passed, they put Wallace II in the same seat.
That's right.
And that seat represents us. And we should accept that. We shouldn't worry about these other people not coming and not being here. Allah don't want them here. People will become a confusion and a problem. Allah wants the people that for love and unity here together, and that's what we got. Okay?